Using risk capital we can afford to lose if we're playing this game. E for eminywizard.com and marketwizards.com. And a reminder, trading is a risky business that will eat you up if you do not take your stops. All right, let's talk about a couple of ideas. It's obviously the last day of February 2019. And we're just at the end of IB. A couple of ranges that we had talked about. I'd suggested make sure that you are paid by 92s to the half gap to 93s. And I'd also suggested you get paid by 85s if you're short, taking out the one next box next to the pipe. So that idea, what I was really referring to was, and these are extreme areas for today's range so far, but I was suggesting get paid top here. And if we came back to the other side in a rotational game, doesn't matter which one comes first. If you didn't like trading the open and you get the push up, then the trade theoretically is okay, I'm going to take a short. And if you don't like trading the middle and you don't get this trade down here that you really want, then you got to see it coming the next time when we hit here and we come down here, and you got to say, okay, better idea to buy here. Okay, and then we move it back out to the next level. So for now, that's our support box. Middle has rejected for now. And what I'd like to do is just review a couple of key ideas we've talked about to help see the possibility of this trade. And the first is that this move started overnight and came down. And then we had a bounce. Back up to here. So that's a contra. We're still an inside day. And theoretically at the contra, you can take one more shot, and you don't know it's going to end here. Nobody knows, but it does. And these top two boxes, theoretically the resistance early. Same down here, support. And so this is a range type trade going with the intraday trend, because the first thrust was down, making the second one a bounce because its retest failure does not take out the high. It does not close the gap. But it's not a rabid dog day either, because we got the half gap. So you want to think about this more as a range type trade. And then you have the right, theoretically, to hit one more if you choose to, and you don't have to, certainly. But we get this bounce, and then we get one more coming down. So this is our range right now that we can see. If it's an 84 and a 90, 6-point range, so that puts this 87 as a key idea. As we said, that area should be. And we said power pivot back here, GCF back here. So this is an important neighborhood today, 85 to 82. This is the key, I believe, for the day. And we could knock them out and go a hair lower and still come back with a jackrabbit, but easier for the longs to try to defend this area if they can. So both sides have defended their turf in this IB, still in intraday range battle. And what I'm trying to show you is how you can think about sequence trading and the way I try to think about it, and how the numbers kind of come out at you just by understanding these type of rotations. And the first part of it is analyzing it, and second part is trading. It's not as easy to trade just because you think you know what's happening. You miss by a point or miss by 2 ticks or whatever. But at least in your own mind, conceptualize what's going on here and then try to catch a piece of those swings. Middle is always the hardest range to trade. All right, quick review of some of the charts we have been looking at. This is one of them, that 15-minute chart. We said should be a good chart, RTH. We also looked at the 5, but we wanted to see this one especially because it was working so well. So that's a chart in play that is significant. This chart certainly has to be a significant chart based on the range where we're in right now. Tails down there, a lot of tails, tails, tails. So for now, we know this is support, this is fighting, and this is resistance. Remember the green and red and yellow boxes? Visualize a red box above and a green box below. So this is a very important chart because right now both sides have defended, and it's still unclear whether we've got ourselves a barn burner in one direction or another. And I'm suggesting probably not. Probably going to be more, as Zeke called it, chop suey. So this was our initial resistance box, or I should say fighting box. We had the box up above it, resistance, support down here, and fighting. And we flipped over into this zone, where this is our fighting box trying to hold. And the next one down we know is our support box. Already helps us to identify that 78 idea as support. Next support if 82 breaks. So there's a logic here. There's a trade logic. It's not just me pulling numbers out of the air. I'm looking at a chart like this, clearly saying, long as you got to break this 92, 97, let's call it 93. And they didn't. Not yet, anyways. And this is our angels and demons. And I said, this zone, eventually we will look at and we will say, okay. This area has become important. Range type trading. Longs have defended so far 82s to 85s. Shorts have also defended their turf today. I think if we take out the IBI and test the demon, it's not conclusive, but I would think that will give the edge to the longs. And IB is done. Range trading as expected. And a 9-point range. There's a little W for those that can see patterns. Double is held at 84s. This 85 to 82 is such a tough area It's like the longs know they have to defend that turf. And on news days, you're going to get this type of action. This was our opening swing range. All right, take it out, come back down, come through it. Chase traders get beat, come back for the double. 60 back, right? 60 back here, double test, and now we'll whack-a-mole a little bit here. And this was our opening rotation range. And you can see beat both sides of it. That's chop. That's your Z pattern. Clear. I would not overtrade. Grab your couple of points, get out of the way. Grab a couple, get out of the way. So in a day like today, because we have so much range type trading right now, very hard to try to keep a runner, because what happens is in this type of a chop, if you don't recognize it as currently a range type environment, you wind up giving back what you just made. So if it's a one-way day or you sense that there's a squeeze on, then you can kind of keep a runner. But you always get to that point where are you risking 5 to make 2 more? And in this type of a chop, this is yesterday's range with today's obviously inside of it. So in my opinion, for those of you who like to have your runners, I think that probably will not produce as good a result. So first, tell me this. If you want to keep a runner, what side do you think is winning? Please tell me what side is winning, because that's the side that if you think that's going to ultimately play out, then so tell me, is it long or short? Okay, so if someone is thinking about squeeze through the 93 on the long side, then you're going to get your first few points at least. You're obviously on this 84. If you're buying the 84s to 85s, and you're not going to get the exact low, but if you get that range, then your first target obviously has to be trying to get back to the middle, to the top of the pipe. So how much are you willing to give back of that on a runner, as opposed to re-entering perhaps or doing nothing? So and that's the hard part about trading, especially when you're in chop like this. So here's a 1-minute chart. See the rotations more easily. And in your last swing, because you're always going by swings, correct? We got that 84 to 90 we talked about with a 87 middle idea, plus and minus 3. So you're up here at 91, 90, and you want to get to the 93 plus. So from 90 plus or minus 3, you give up 3, you're back here at 87 or 93. From any point, you can always do a plus or minus 2 or 3 or whatever. So if you're trading and that's your belief, you could close out the trade there, and then if that's your belief, can rebuy. I know that's not sexy, but that's one way to play that trade if that's your belief. Just trying to show some common sense ideas because it's so murky. You don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. All we know is it's range type trading. And the contras today have been long side, and the push so far has been down. News events, be very careful. So, for the person who's been asking me about that privately, that's my answer to you. Sideline right now in this kind of a swing, my belief. Almost any day we can come into the market and take something out of the market with reasonable risk reward. That's my belief. And if that's your belief, then you want to avoid the shaky type of ideas and use something a little more solid because over time it will give you that edge.